So, really quickly, before we hop into the video, I want to thank you guys so much for all the, the subs and support over the last couple of days. It has been absolutely insane. I know like just a week ago or so, we were trying to get 800 subs, and today we are less than 30 subs away from hitting 1,000. So, honestly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys so much for that. It really does mean a lot. I don't really have anything planned for the moment for when we hit 1,000, but I'm gonna try to come up with something. Hopefully we can, I don't know, have some fun or something. We might do a live stream, or I don't know what we'll do yet, but yeah, thank you guys so much for that. Really, it does mean a lot to me. If you haven't subbed, we're trying to hit 1,000, I guess. So yeah. But anyways, I know the last video was on Tower of Trials, but I've been playing it a lot these last couple of days because I've been really interested in trying to finish it. And as you can see, I finished it. And I actually just beat floor 25 a few minutes ago. I did record it, but my file got corrupted, so I didn't actually get to keep any of the footage from it, which was unfortunate. But honestly, I beat the last floor first try, which was really surprising because floor 20 and floor 15 both gave me so much trouble. I guess Frisia is just not really like that hard of a boss. I mean, her whole like gimmick is that she puts a whole bunch of like damage over time moves on you, like with the corrosion and poison, etc. So she really wasn't that big of an issue. But if you don't know, this is the team that we're using. This is actually the same team that Nagato uses. So shout out to him for the team idea and everything like that. It's, it's been very helpful actually. We're going to go over the team really quick just to kind of show you guys what to do with it if you don't know. So this is the team. I used this team basically from floor 20 on. So I guess technically I had to restart on floor 16 and move up from there. So this was the team that I used for the rest of it. Your key player here is going to be Estarossa, and your second key player is going to be Gowther. You want Estarossa because obviously he can counterattack, and it just does insane damage. And the whole point is that you try to get, especially on the later stages, you're going to want to have a level 3 counter on the first turn. So obviously it takes a little bit of RNG. And I know that the Tower of Trial levels can, they take 10 stamina. But honestly, like if you don't start with a level 3 counter, most likely you're not going to be able to win. So you basically just forfeit out and restart over, and it's very frustrating. But you just have to, like, it was really frustrating for me, especially on a lot of these matches, just not getting the right RNG, or getting the right RNG, and then later in the match you don't get the RNG that you need to kind of keep progressing correctly, and then you just end up losing and having to restart over again. And it's just it is very frustrating. Tower of Trials is supposed to be very hard, but honestly it's kind of weird because it's not really hard per se. It's more just get the right RNG to win sort of thing, which is kind of annoying, but it is kind of cool as a game mode itself, just because you get a lot of good rewards and stuff, and I'm always interested in PvE stuff. So yeah, you want Estarossa to have a level 3 counter on most stages at the very end, on the very first turn. So you want to try to make sure that he ends up pulling either 2 of his counter cards so you can merge them and then upgrade, or you want to get 2 upgrades so that way you can double upgrade and then use the counter card. So yeah, obviously that means that Gowther is the second key player. Like I said, you want to make sure that you have one that can rank up. It doesn't have to be Green Gowther, but Green Gowther does work out really well because his passive, with this team specifically, because they are all of different races, his passive will actually start to increase your attack stat, which is really nice. So that is always good. Goddess Elizabeth, Nagato was saying that he actually would switch out Goddess Elizabeth, but I think because his team and his stuff is so much more stacked than regular players, that honestly Goddess Elizabeth helped me out a ton. Like, I mean, just making sure that a character didn't die here or there, or just on the very rare stage where you can actually stun one of the enemies and it doesn't completely remove all of the debuffs at the beginning of the phase. or at the beginning of the next turn. That was kind of helpful. The shield is kind of helpful every once in a while, so that way they don't completely obliterate Estarossa, because some of the enemies can absolutely like destroy you in one hit. And having the shield up is pretty nice in that regard, because if you can put up the counter and then put up a little bit of a shield, so that way they're not absolutely destroying you through your counter, and then you can retaliate with the damage and then get lifesteal back. It's very nice. So Goddess Elizabeth to me was a pretty good unit. I definitely wouldn't switch her out as far as like I'm concerned, but I don't know if your gear is a lot better. I do not have UR gear for my Estarossa. I know he does. I'm thinking about building it for him at this point, because he seems to be such a good character in general for Tower of Trial, and they're going to be resetting it every month. I'm very tempted to just invest in it at this point, because Estarossa is a cool unit and I like the PvE sort of game modes, so this may be something that I personally am interested in. Other than that, the Zeldris is actually really good, mainly because of his passive. It's either his passive or his commandment. I don't think it's his commandment. No. So his passive is increases allies' basic stats by 6% for each ally or enemy with a commandment. So this makes it to where it's 12% increase to basic stats, which is really nice, just because you have 2 on the team and it does work in the sub slot. So it kind of helps with just building up a little bit more extra damage and stuff like that. So just in general, he's just kind of there to buff Estarossa, and I mean, he's not a bad unit at all in the back. There was a couple of occasions where I was actually able to clutch the round after Estarossa ended up getting beat down, and Zeldris came out and just was able to mop up the last little bit. It was very rare for that to happen, and just the RNG had to be right, and I had to have the enemy on pretty low health to begin with, but he was able to finish off a couple of enemies here and there, so that was kind of cool. But he's basically just there to help buff Estarossa. So, yeah. As far as food goes, you definitely want to, at the end, especially on the last, 5 floors, maybe even the last 10 floors, you want to start using lifesteal food as much as possible, because that way, when you're using these counters on Estarossa, he can gain back as much HP as possible, because like I said, some of these enemies, they can take down a whole health bar sometimes with a single attack. So it's really, important for him to lifesteal all of that, damage back up, so that way he can kind of, keep dishing out the counters and stuff like that. But honestly, this one was a really fun Tower of Trial. It was a lot different. I made that last video and I was so stuck on 15 that I hated it. But I think after you kind of work around and you can, find a decent team that works, it just takes a little bit of getting used to. It does take a lot of stamina. And I mean, this is meant to be a very late game activity. It's supposed to be something that, you do in your free time throughout a whole month. This isn't really something that you're supposed to just beat in a couple of days, which this Tower of Trial has been out for maybe a week. I think it's been a week at this point. I'm not quite sure. So it resets in 24 days. So I think it's been out for roughly 3-4 days. So yeah, you're not really supposed. I don't think they anticipate on you beating it that fast. But obviously, if people find the right team, which this one seems to be a pretty good one. Obviously, there are other teams. I'm not saying that this is the best team or anything by any means. I'm sure there's other teams that do really well. But this is just the one that worked out for me the most, because I have a lot of these units built. So take it with a grain of salt. But anyways, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys had fun with the whole Tower of Trial thing. I know it's very hard, so just take your time with it. Try it here and there whenever you have some free time or whatever. Don't just keep playing it over and over again, because it will it will mentally drain you. So yeah, that's basically it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Feel free to subscribe for more content in the future, and I'll see you.